In this video, I'm going to show you how to make your own shaker style doors, just like this. For this project, you are going to need a router or router table. Let's go. The first thing you'll need to do is decide the size of the door. You may be replacing one, so just measure this, or you might be starting from scratch with a brand new unit, for example. Once you've got the measurement of your door, you then need to decide how wide you want your rails and stiles. This is entirely up to you, but if you go too narrow, the door will be flimsy and you'll have no room to put the cabinet hinges. But then if you go too wide, it will look a bit chunky and odd. The size of my door is 598 wide by 717 tall, and therefore I'm going to make my stiles and rails 80mm wide. I've already drawn this out and it looks in proportion, so if you're starting from scratch, draw it out before you commit. To fix all of these together, I'm using a tongue and groove joint, and I'm using this tongue and groove router set from RouterBitMall.com. They have a huge range of different router cutters for multiple applications at a really good price. Use code JUSTIN for an 8% discount with no minimum order. Details below, go check them out. The stiles run from top to bottom, so the height of your door is the length of your stile. My door is 717. My tongue and groove cutter leaves a 13mm tongue which will go into the stiles, so my rails need to be the door width minus 2 stiles plus 26mm for 2 13mm tongues. Got it? Now these cutters do have bearings on them. There's one on the top here and there's also one in between these two cutters here. So if you're using a handheld router, you can just put that in there and that will obviously run along the edge of your board. But because I've got a router table, I'm going to use the fence and run this along the line of the bearing, which will just make it a little bit easier. I'm starting off by just marking a 6mm line along a couple of edges of the board here, just so I can get the first cutter in exactly the right spot. And I can just line it up with the cutter and get that set exactly in the right position. I'm happy with the position of the cutter, so I'm going ahead and putting the tongue on the end of the rails. When setting up the groover, all I need to do is make sure it's in exactly the same position as the tongue on these rails that I've just done. Set the fence in line with the bearing. And that looks pretty good to me. I've got my rails and stiles all machined now, ready to put together to try out. I've cut myself a piece of 6mm MDF, which is going to fit perfectly into the 6 and a bit millimeter groove. I have made this panel 3mm shorter on the length and 3mm shorter on the width, just to give it a little bit of wiggle room and to give it a little bit of space for the glue. Oh, fantastic. Look at that. Looking good. almost ready to glue it up, but one more thing I like to do before I do that is to just take this edge off slightly around here, take that sharpness away, but also with these joins here. So if I put a very slight chamfer on this, using a piece of sandpaper, it's going to give it a really nice look to the join. So here comes the easier bit of gluing it all together. So all those joins are nice and flush now, but what I'll do is just check the squareness before we tighten it up. So corner to corner, oh, that is within a millimetre, which is awesome. I'm not going to worry about that at all. And to be honest, if your corners, your cuts are 90 degrees, you should, in theory, be all right. So that's gone together really nicely. So we'll just pop it in the sash clamps. Gotta make sure the pin's in though, otherwise it won't tighten up. There, try again, JB. Last check on those joins, yeah, nice. And then just as we tighten that off, get a little bit of glue seeping out, but that's good. And then what we'll do, we'll clean this up with a chisel, just so we're sure that we get it all out. Not worried about the back, that can be sanded, and as I've said already, the front here on these joins, I've just sanded it, chamfered it slightly, so it just makes the join look purposely made. Right, there we go, one shaker door set in. We'll leave that for a couple of hours and we're nearly there. One more thing to do, and that's to make sure that it's sitting flat on your workbench or your sash clamps, whatever it is you're doing and using to glue them up. So what I'm going to do here is just add a little bit of weight on those ends there, and that ensures that it stays nice and flat.
A few moments later.
This has had a good few hours to dry now, so I'm going to take out the clamps. And there we go, looking good. So there's two more things I want to do to it, and that's going to start with a chamfer all the way around this edge here, again to take away that sharpness, give it a softer look, softer feel, and I'm going to do that on the router table. As you can see, I'm running a 45-degree chamfer bit, it's got a bearing on it, and this is also from RouterBitMall.com. And then the last thing is just to put the cabinet hinge holes on here as well. So we'll just mark up where they go. Obviously to match the existing. So let's get this drilled in, screwed in rather. Boom, boom. Of course, to finish this, you might want to paint it, but I'm not going to do that. Not for now. But there we go. Hinges are on, one shaker door. Let's go and check it out. All right, here we go. Oh yeah, fantastic, look at that. That is how you make shaker style doors. Well, I do hope you found this video helpful and interesting. If you've got any questions, you know what to do. Stick those in the box below. I'll do my best to answer them. Don't forget to check out RouterBitMall.com. I'll leave details in the box below as well. And don't forget your 8% discount. Awesome. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.